Hey folks, what I've got here is a Spanish Armed Forces individual combat ration, and we're going to check it out right now on Kitbashed Survival. Alright, so this will be the first in a new series of videos where I review combat rations and MREs and stuff like that. You know, I've been buying and eating these things for years. I just like to see what's in these things. And I've always thought about doing videos on them, but you know, there's so many other channels that do videos about MREs that I was a little bit hesitant to do it. But then I took a survey of some of my viewers and I said, you know, what do you think? Should I review these things? And the overwhelming majority of them said, yeah, go ahead and do it. So I'm going to review some of these things and you can let me know what you think. Anyway, so yeah, the Spanish Forces individual combat ration. This is the lunch portion, menu A1, which I believe is sort of a lentil chorizo stew, and then some mackerel and oil and a couple other side items. You know, one of the interesting things about the Spanish combat rations is that, you know, because Spain is on the Mediterranean, their menu is typically sort of Mediterranean in nature, at least to some extent. So oftentimes you find a lot of fish in their combat rations. You know, mackerel, tuna, sardines, squid, stuff like that. So it should be interesting to try some of these. Now, because this is NATO approved, one nice benefit is that it's in multiple languages, so you don't have to know Spanish to be able to find out what's going on here. So it's the individual combat ration, lunch, and menu A1. And this one has an expiration date, or I guess maybe an inspection date, of October 2023. So it's still good as I'm filming this in November 2021. And even though I mentioned that other people have reviewed these types of MREs and combat rations before, one nice thing is that they do change over time. So just because someone reviewed one of these things a couple years ago doesn't mean this one is going to be exactly the same. The menus and the contents do change over time. Something interesting about the Spanish Armed Forces combat rations is that when you pull it out of the plastic sleeve like we just did, the box itself is upside down, but the cans inside are right side up. But when you actually open this thing, you flip it over like that and open the lid, then the cans are upside down. And I think they did that because the label on each can is on the bottom side of the can. And so when you have it this way and you open it up, you can see what's in each can. But when it's in storage, it's stored upside down, and that way the cans are right side up, and I'd imagine that's done to prevent leakage or something to that effect. Anyway, let's go ahead and pop the lid. So we've got the brochure on top, and as I said, because this is NATO approved, I think that's why they have it in multiple languages. So you've got Spanish on the front, but you've got English on the first inside page. Armed Forces Individual Combat Ration, Lunch A, Menu Number 1. 1 bag of chicken and pasta instant soup of 13 grams. 1 tin of lentils with sausage and lard of 300 grams. 1 tin of mackerel in vegetable oil of 120 grams. 1 tube of apple cream at 50 grams. And then the accessories, you've got 2 water purification tablets, 3 solid combustible tablets, that's fuel for the stove, 4 bags of Isotonic powder drink with vitamin C, and that's 5 grams each, 1 piece of chewing gum, 1 book of matches, 20 matches, 1 stove, a bag of cellulose paper, that's tissues, and there's 10 sheets, fluoride toothpaste, instant hand disinfectant, and 1 information label, which is what I've got here. So this is in Spanish on the front, English, French, and then they've got the Ministry of Defense stuff on the back. Ministry of Defense Individual Combat Ration. This ration has been checked with the technical conditions sheet written by the Commissariat Technical Service Department on receipt from the manufacturer and fulfills the requirements of the Spanish Code of Foodstuff and technical sanitary rules for human consumption. In spite of its meticulous conservation and handling, defects or irregularities due to reasons beyond our control might be noted in some of the items. So please check if the packaging bulges or is dented, if there are signs of rust on metal packaging, if there is leakage inside the cases, if there is a bad smell, if there is any other sign of the food being in a bad state, etc. In all cases, and when in doubt, report the irregularities to a superior, and if alone, it is better not to eat suspect items. Good advice. So right on top, we've got chicken soup with pasta, like a dried soup mix. Then we've got some of that isotonic drink powder, and there's 4 of those. There it is. And I would imagine this is just for getting vitamin C and electrolytes and stuff like that back into your system. Always good to have. Here's the hand disinfectant. Good thing to have in this day and age especially. Here are the 3 fuel tablets. And then here we've got some dental cream with fluoride, or toothpaste, if you will. Here's that apple cream. I imagine this is for dessert. Something sweet. Looks pretty good. Looks kind of like apple pie filling. Here's the main course, lentils with chorizo. 300 grams. And there's the pole top. On the side, we've got the Spanish Armed Forces insignia. That's pretty cool. All right, and then we've got our side item, which is the mackerel in oil. Fillets of mackerel in oil. All right, then we've got that book of matches. These go with that stove and that fuel. The stove is still down in here. And there's our pack of tissues. Here's that portable stove. Seems pretty typical. All right, then we've got chewing gum, 1 piece. And water purification tablets, and there's 2 of them. And that's it. So here it all is. Now, I could put this out on a tray, you know, something like this, but I'm not going to do that because, well, first of all, Steve1989 is one of my favorite YouTube channels, and I don't want this to come off as a complete and utter ripoff. But secondly, I would imagine that when soldiers are eating these things out in the field, they probably don't have a tray handy, and so I'm going to try this without a tray and we'll see how it goes, and who knows, maybe in the future I will add the tray. Now, it's interesting to note that there's no fork or spoon present in this kit, and there's also no toothbrush to go with this toothpaste. That may be by design. I know this is one component in sort of a meal system that they have. This is the lunch component. So it may be that the Spanish soldiers are expected to already have a fork and spoon with them and maybe a toothbrush, or maybe this is meant to be used with your fingers. I don't know. But it's definitely not meant to be a standalone, all-inclusive system like an MRE. You have to bring some stuff with you. So we'll try this isotonic drink powder first. Now, it's interesting that on the back, it doesn't say how much water you're supposed to use, at least not that I see. It does say you're supposed to consume 2 doses per day, and 1 dose equals 4 of these packets. So you're meant to consume all 4 of these with lunch, and then 4 more with dinner. So let's go ahead and open it up. Smells interesting. Kind of like powdered drink mix. So I'm going to start off with 1 packet, and I'll add some cold water to it. I hope that's how you're supposed to do this. Although it doesn't seem to be dissolving, maybe you're supposed to mix this with hot water. Let me taste it first. It's not bad. I'm going to add another packet because it's kind of weak right now. And it looks like it's dissolving. It's just taking a while. It would probably dissolve faster in hot water, I'm sure. Oh, okay. Yeah. Now it's getting better. I'm going to add the other two. And we'll do a full dose. And I could be doing this all wrong. Maybe you're supposed to mix this with 4 different drinks. I don't know. There's probably somebody who does know who's watching this now telling me I'm a complete idiot, but that's okay. You learn by doing. All right, let's give it a taste. It's not bad. You can definitely tell it's an energy drink. It's meant to replenish your electrolytes and so forth. But given that, it really doesn't taste that bad. It's kind of a little medicine-y, but not in a bad way, really. Totally drinkable. It kind of reminds me of if you've ever had Alka-Seltzer when you have a cold, like when they have flavored Alka-Seltzer that you drop in water. It tastes a lot like that, and I don't think that Alka-Seltzer tastes bad. It's just sort of like flavored carbonated water to me with a tad of a little medicine-y taste, and that's what this kind of reminds me of. It's like a lemon lime Alka-Seltzer drink without the carbonation. But yeah, I like it. I mean, I wouldn't drink this every day by choice, but you know, if it came with a meal, especially out in the field, it's definitely drinkable, and you know it's doing your body good. That's the most important part. Next, we'll try this chicken soup with pasta. It says to mix it with 20 centiliters of hot water. 20 centiliters is about 7 ounces or so. And I've got that right here. There it is. It smells like chicken soup mix. Well, so far it looks like soup. It smells good. I'll let this sit in the hot water for a minute and we'll give it a try. All right. Oh, here goes. That's good. It's hot. It's good. Let me try some of the noodles. The noodles are still a bit al dente. I don't mind that, but someone might. I'm sure if I let it sit longer, those noodles will soften up. That's really good. It's very salty. That's for sure. Let me see if it says how much sodium is in one of these things. Looks like there's 17.6 grams of sodium. So, yeah, pretty salty. But it is good. And it would definitely warm me up on a cold day. That's for damn sure. I like this. It cools down a little bit more, I'll be able to drink it right from the cup rather than using a spoon. All right, now comes the part I have not been especially looking forward to, the mackerel fillets in oil. Yeah. I don't know if people in Spain like this, but this is definitely not my cup of tea. But we're going to give it a try. I'm going to put it on this little paper plate just to avoid oil going everywhere. See if I can get a good angle so you guys can see it opening. Oh yeah. Mackerel in oil. Actually doesn't look as scary as I thought it would. It breaks apart fairly easily. And there it is in all its glory. All right, I'm gonna give it a shot. Well, it's not bad. It tastes like canned tuna fish in oil. I usually get, when I get tuna fish, I get it in spring water, but if you get it in oil, it tastes like this. Yeah, it's not bad. I intentionally didn't eat earlier today to make myself hungry. And so being hungry, you know, I'm eating it. I don't know if I would want this in my lunch every day, but just a one-off thing, it's okay. It's okay. For something that is definitely not in my wheelhouse, canned fish in oil, it's totally edible. It tastes fine. It's not fishy at all. It tastes exactly like tuna fish in oil. That's really what it tastes like. So if you went to your grocery store and bought some chicken of the sea in oil, that's what this tastes like. Probably mix it up with some mayonnaise and make some mackerel salad. Yeah, definitely better than I was expecting. I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm gonna have another bite. And I will probably finish this because, like I said, I'm pretty hungry. The only downside I could see to this would be that it is a little messy because you've got oil dripping all over the place. But, you know, if you brought it up to your mouth and ate it close to your mouth, kind of like a bowl of rice, and minimize the distance between the can and your mouth, it'd be just fine. In fact, that's what I'm going to do right now. It does go well with the soup, though. All right, now we come to the main course, lentils with chorizo. And I've been looking forward to this ever since I bought this thing. I'm hoping it's going to be really good. Oop, made a little bit of a mess. That's probably why it's best to keep the lid on these things when you cook them, so it doesn't go flying off. All right, so there it is before cooking it. Looks like you would expect lentils and chorizo. I'm going to taste a little bit of it before I cook it. Definitely needs to be cooked. Tastes like cold lentils with meat. All right, so we're going to set up this stove. Now, I'm indoors, so I'm going to put it on this plate. And I believe the way these work is you fold it down like that. And then up like that. if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it's the other way around. Yeah, I think it's like that. There we go. And we'll take one of our fuel tablets. Ugh, these things always stink so much. I do have a window open just to get some ventilation in here. Oops. Take two. Okay. Come on, I want a light. There we go, now it's burning. All right. Let's go ahead and set this on top. I'm going to use a metal spoon for this one. And hopefully we'll hear it start sizzling in just a second. Oh yeah, it's starting to sizzle. Got to be really careful with these things because you don't want to burn the bottom. I think that's lard. I think this is lentils with chorizo and lard, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, look at all that. Yummy fat. Now, as a side note, I thought about cooking this on one of my camping stoves that uses the isobutane fuel rather than using the chemical tablets indoors. But I decided against it because I've tried that before with other combat rations and MREs and so forth. And I found that the fuel stoves burn a little bit too hot, and it's really easy to burn the contents of the can, burn the bottom of it, and then you get this nasty burn taste in everything you're eating. Whereas with these chemical tablets, they burn at a lower temperature. It's not quite as intense, and that gives you more time to stir it around and get it evenly warmed without burning it. It's not to say you can't burn it. You still have to make sure you're stirring it, but there's less of a chance of burning it. Whereas when you use those butane stoves, it's really hard not to burn it. And you can see that I'm grabbing the sides of the tin, which you could never do if you were using a butane stove. So yeah, these are meant to be cooked with these chemical tablets. If you hear any noise in the background, that's my cats running around. I guess they smell the food and now they're they're like, what's going on in there? Can we have some? Getting there. It's kind of lukewarm now. What'll be interesting to see is if one fuel tablet is just the right size to make this thing nice and hot. Now, there's two more fuel tabs. I think this one's for heating up water for the soup. This one might be for heating up water for the isotonic beverage, I don't know. Or maybe just a spare. All right, I think we're done here. It's been about 10 minutes. Yeah. Warm, but not too warm. All right. So there she is, and obviously I've been tasting this along the way to see how warm it was, so some of it's already gone. And, I mean, I'm still eating it, so it's good. It's very good. I like it. It's hearty. Got the lentils, you got the chorizo in there. It's not too salty, so unlike the soup, you know, it's very mild in terms of the spice content and salt, which probably is by design. It goes nicely with the soup. where you've got some saltiness going on. And then you come over here to the lentils and chorizo, and it balances out that saltiness of the soup. Yeah, all that fat melted in there. It's delicious. I'm going to finish this thing. I'm going to try something really crazy here. I'm going to try a bite of this mackerel. With the stew. Let's see how that goes down. No. Don't mix the mackerel and the lentils and chorizo. Eat them separately. Yeah, this is delicious. And the mackerel and oil is good as well. It's a different taste than the chorizo and lentils, so they kind of contrast with each other, so you get some variety. It's actually a pretty good combo with the lentils and chorizo, the mackerel, and the soup. They balance each other quite well, I think. And again, that mackerel and oil was a big surprise. I was not looking forward to that, and it ended up being okay. Which really isn't a surprise. I'm sure they do this for a reason. I'm sure the Spanish know what they're talking about when they're making these meals, so not a big surprise. I've been to Spain. They got great food over there, so. Oh, there's more good news. My cats like the mackerel as well. It meets with their approval. What's interesting is that most of the oil in the can is now gone. It's kind of been soaked up into the fish. So if you leave it sitting out for a little bit, it won't be quite as messy because you're not dealing with all sorts of oil dripping all over the place. All right, I've been a good boy. I finished my lentils and chorizo and my mackerel and the soup. So now it's time for dessert, the apple cream. All right, so there it is. Apple cream. It's kind of the consistency of Jell-O or like a fruit spread. Let's see how it tastes. That is a nice compliment to all this food. Finish things up on a sweet note. This is delicious. It's kind of like a thick apple butter, like a gelatinized apple butter almost. Really good. Might have some cinnamon in there or something. I don't know. Yeah. That was delicious. And the perfect way to end this meal. Actually, the perfect way to end this meal is with the chewing gum, which I almost forgot about. So there it is. A little chiclet style. Let's give it a try. It's good. It's like a spearmint flavor. Mint or something like that. It's not too hard. A lot of times with these MREs and combat rations and so forth, the chewing gum is really hard. But this is plenty soft, nice and fresh. It's good. Got our tissues. I'm sure this can be used as toilet paper if need be. I'm going to wipe my mouth with it though. And then we've got our dental cream. I'm just going to give this a taste. Tastes good. Tastes like toothpaste. I wonder if this is meant to be used with a toothbrush or not. It's kind of liquidy, so you might be able to just put it in your mouth and kind of swish it around or brush it around with your finger. Not sure. And then here's the hand sanitizer. Smells like alcohol. I like how it's the liquid hand sanitizer and not wet naps. Very cool. Fortunately, right now I don't have to use the bathroom, so I won't be wiping my ass with that. And at this point, we are pretty much done. So yeah, the Spanish Armed Forces combat ration, the lunch menu with this delicious lentils and chorizo, the mackerel and oil, which was surprisingly good, the chicken and pasta soup, and the apple cream. I like this a lot. It was delicious, in a word. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Let me know if you like these types of videos, and if you'd like to see more in the future. I'd like to hear what you have to say, but for now, that's it. I'm Eric Siegel. This is Kit Bashed Survival. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.